A new Quinnipiac poll puts it at just 33%, down quite a bit from 40% in June. Joining me now to talk about this is Matt Schlapp, chairman of the American Conservative Union. Matt, so great to see you.
Thanks,
obviously,
Katie.
West Virginia voters, from what we just saw right there, are going to give him a little bit more time. He's only been in office for 6 months. That state went heavily for him. But 33%, that is just not a good number, is it?
Yeah, no, I think nobody wants to see those numbers when you're president. Of course, I worked for President George W. Bush in his first term, and by the end of his second term, he was facing low numbers as well. But this is an early part in the administration to see these numbers. And look, I think it's a little bit of an indicator, even for those of us who really like what President Trump is doing on the agenda. There has been a lot of turbulence with all these leaks and all the stories about what's going on inside his team in the West Wing. And I'm just very gratified with General Kelly coming in and the fact that I think they are going to get to a much better place on those kind of process stories. What
do you think about the president still tweeting, though? He's going after the Republican Party on Twitter. General Kelly so far has not been able to cut down on that.
Well, I think there's this Twitter obsession, I think, on all parties' part. And for me,
well,
I don't
we'd stop talking about it if he stopped tweeting these things.
That's fair. Totally fair. That's kind of what I meant by saying by all parts. I think that I'm not so much, personally, I'm not so much worried about whether he tweets or doesn't tweet. What I want to see the White House do is have a real communication strategy. And the president's going to lead it. He's his best spokesperson. He gets frustrated when he hears other people who are speaking for him not use the words he wants them to use or not get it right. So he's going to be, it's atypical, but you're going to have a president being his major spokesperson. But I think if there was a real communication strategy, something they have struggled with from day one, part of that strategy would be, the president wouldn't feel like he has to push out strong messages because nobody else is.
The communications team, though, was putting out messages, but the president was undercutting those messages in the background. And we have, the reporting from the other day saying that he was crafting Don Jr.'s statement, dictating it on Air Force One. The White House initially saying, no, he had nothing to do with it. His lawyers saying that, and the White House saying, oh, yeah, he did have something to do with that. So there seems to be a daily disconnect between what the president is actually doing and what the White House communications team is saying he's doing. I want to give you another portion of this Q poll, and this is showing the president losing support among key blocks of voters. White men, 47% approve, 48% disapprove, and white people with no college degree, 43% approve, 50% disapprove. These were key parts of his voting bloc. What does he have to do in order to keep those numbers from going down any farther? After all, he loses them, and it's going to be hard to see how he gets a win in 2020.
Well, we are far away from 2020, and I think that what has happened to him is he has been the victim of a lot of stories about...
You think he's the victim, Matt?
Katie,
or is
let me give an answer.
Okay,
let me give an answer, okay? He's the victim of a lot of process stories, and or at least you could say the process stories don't put him in the best light, and it's over and over and over. Actually look at the policies that he's trying to implement, doing what he said he would do on the campaign trail. With his supporters, he's very popular on those very issues. It's the question of when you have this West Wing intrigue that intervenes between the policy he's trying to implement, that's where these numbers start to get fuzzy. I think that when the White House gets back on track about talking about the agenda with his supporters, he'll be in very strong shape. And I think he, unlike a lot of Republicans, has the ability to build a unique coalition like he did in the last election.
What do you want to see him do on Russia? You want to see him push back harder or keep acting the way he's been acting?
I want him to push back harder on China. China is the biggest menace on the globe. And I think it would be, just like Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, I think it would be good to get into a place with Russia where at least we can do some business together on the things we agree with. I think Russia's a menace, and I think the sanctions are a fait accompli, and hopefully Putin will get the message that America is serious, that he can't continue to undermine elections or our society with his cyber hacking and his spying.
Is Putin getting that message when the president signs it, although begrudgingly, and saying that he's signing something that he believes is unconstitutional? Or is that sending a message to Putin that, hey, the president is only doing this because he's being forced to?
It's clear that Donald Trump didn't lead the parade on these sanctions. And by the way, I know a lot of foreign policy experts who are on my board at the American Conservative Union who don't think this is the right way to handle the relationship with Russia. But like I said, this is where we are as a country. The country has spoken clearly, both branches of government, and Putin heard it because that's why he's expelling our American personnel. We're in a trade war. We're in a war of words with Russia. It's where the Democrats and those folks who are frustrated about the election wanted to be, and we are there. Let's see what happens.
Republicans are the ones that were pushing those sanctions as well. But Matt
They
Schlapp,
were. No, it was a bipartisan, overwhelming vote. No question about it.
Matt Schlapp, chairman of the American Conservative Union. Matt, it is wonderful to see you. I'd like to see you more often on my show, so say yes.
Anytime, Katie. I think your viewers know I'm not shy. I'm coming on.
No.